Sometimes karma doesn't come back to haunt people with pure hearts and free minds. Sometimes it simply exposes those who never had one. Roger was the kind of student people ignored, quiet, thoughtful. He always sat at the back of the class, his mind heavy with dreams no one ever bothered to ask. Sometimes karma doesn't come back to haunt people with pure hearts and free minds. Sometimes it simply exposes those who never had one. But Mick was laughing loudly in front of a group of their classmates, pointed at Roger and said, "You're wasting your life, Roger. Dreams don't pay the bills. Come talk to me when you actually start earning something." Those words stayed with Roger. They cut deeper than any physical blow ever could. Years passed. Life threw its punches, but Roger never lost himself, while Roger was completely isolated. Through it all, Roger stayed silent. Not because he was weak, but because he was controlled. He chose to maintain his inner peace rather than seek revenge. He knew the truth, and for him, that was enough. Then came the day that fate decided to flip the script. Mick, now a man desperate for a job, walked into a small, unassuming office for an interview. He smoothed down his tie, took a deep breath, and entered his spirit. He believed that one day his hard work would speak for itself. Roger looked up slowly, his eyes meeting Mick's. His voice was soft, but it carried, stretching for what felt like an eternity. Mick swallowed hard, his face pale. "Roger," he stammered, his voice barely a whisper. "I didn't know it was you." Later that week, Mick couldn't bear the weight of his guilt any longer. He gathered Leo and Lena, the two friends he had turned against Roger all those years ago. His eyes were heavy with regret, replied, his voice still calm. "You hated me because I didn't become bitter like you expected." At that moment, Mick completely broke down. The years of carrying that ugly secret, of building his own ego on the ruins of another up. His voice was clear and steady. "I stayed quiet because my heart was clean," he said, "and clean hearts don't need to shout to be heard." Roger walked away that day feeling lighter than he had in years. He was free not because karma had finally come to punish Mick, but because he had never allowed hatred to rent space in his soul. He had protected his own peace, his own integrity was just the clean, simple, and undeniable truth. But through it all, Roger stayed silent. This wasn't the silence of weakness, it was the silence of control. He chose peace over revenge. He understood that engaging with Mick's bitterness, glances of suspicion becoming a daily reality. The friendships he cherished began to fray, all because of one person's jealousy. Years passed. Life hit hard, as it always does, but Roger never lost himself. He navigated the challenges with the same quiet strength, a life that would prove them all wrong without him ever having to say a word. He was playing the long game, focused on a horizon no one else could see. The encounter shattered Mick. Later, standing with Leo and Lena, the guilt was a heavy cloak on his shoulders. He finally confessed, "I lied to you." Roger hung in the air, a truth so sharp it left no room for argument. The power dynamic had not just shifted, it had been completely redefined. There was no revenge, no insults, just truth. Roger walked away free not because karma punished Mick, but for Mick, but as a release for himself. It was the final act of letting go. With that, Roger turned and walked away, leaving the three of them frozen, engulfed by the consequences of their actions.